Alright, let's place in our last one, which is the pin. So we'll pick iPart bolt for mount. Again, go to the table, make sure we get the right one. Dismiss. And now we'll constrain it just like we did at the beginning of the webcast. And now I want to constrain this using the default work planes. So I'm going to expand those out so I can see them. This is the bolt and the origin. I'm looking for the YZ plane of the mount and the XY of the bolt. And there we go. Now, since this is created in this way, I planned ahead, I built all of my iParts first. Now I can easily go in and create an iAssembly. So I'm going to go to Tools, Create iAssembly. What you're going to want to look for here is this Table Replace option. This is going to allow us to use the different configurations of the iParts in this iAssembly. Well, how many iAssemblies do we want? We want one iAssembly with 3 configurations. So let's go ahead and create those rows. 1, 2, and 3. The parts that I'm including are going to be the iPart mount. So I want to take the table replace and put it in. Also the shaft. So I'm going to take that table replace and put it in. Go to the bolt, table replace, double click, and it shows up in the list, in the table. So for my first configuration, I want to use my first configuration for each of those iParts, 01, 01, and 01. For my second configuration, I want to use the second configuration for each of the iParts. So I'm going to use the drop-down list, 02, 02, and 02. For the third configuration, I'd like to use the third, 03, 03, and 03. Hit OK. I didn't click verify, which I probably should have done that. But let's go ahead and see if it works anyway. There's 01, 02, and 03. Let's see what 01. This is 01 here, so let's see what it looks like when we select 02. There's our new one. You can see it has a silver shaft in it now. The bolt is there. Everything has been adjusted. We'll drop it down some more. Go to the third configuration. And there's our third. We have our clearance still. We have our bolt in there. It goes all the way through. Everything is working just as it should. How does this benefit us? Well, let's say we're in, let's save this first. Save this assembly. I'll call this my new iAssembly. So I want to go and create a new assembly file. Standard IAM. Place component. The component I'm looking for is my new iAssembly.iam. There it is. Now I've got a table. Just like I had with the iPart, I've got the same table with the iAssembly. I'll go to my table tab, and there are my 3 configurations. Well, let's go ahead and just pick this one first, the first configuration. Now it's prompting me for a second one. Well, the second one I need is going to be the second configuration. So you can see how it immediately changes and creates the parts for the second configuration. Maybe I need 2 of those. Well, the third one, I need 2 of those also. So I'm going to pick the location, just drop them in, and dismiss. So you can see how quickly I was able to have 3 different configurations coming from one assembly, which is coming from 3 part files. If you were to look at this and try to figure out how many parts you were dealing with, otherwise, obviously you're dealing with 9 parts, 9 individual parts, and 3 individual assemblies. So you're dealing with 12 different files if you were not using this method. since we are using this method, we're dealing with four files. So we're cutting down on the number of files we're having to keep up with. Alright, this is the proper method, is planning ahead, creating your iParts first, and then creating your assembly. Let's look at it the not so fun way, not so easy way, and that is creating the assembly first, dropping your parts in, and then deciding that you want to convert those into iParts. So what we're going to need to do is first, with this mount, we're going to have to replace it with itself. It's just one of those things. So I'm going to go to iPart Mount, hit the Replace button, and I'm going to have to replace it with itself. What this does, you'll see the icon change here when we do this. I'll pick OK, and what we're getting here is not errors in the software, but errors in the constraints. We have 3 different constraints here that are no longer valid because we replaced a part with a new part. Even though it's the same part, we still have to go back and fix those constraints. So let's correct these one at a time. I'll select the red cross. It's going to take us into Design Doctor. Here's Mate 1, Mate 2, and Mate 3. Those are the 3 constraints that we're going to have to fix. So let's go to Mate 1 first. That's a pretty easy one to fix. It says constraint was placed with respect to geometry that is no longer available. Well, it's no longer available because that part that we constrained to initially does not exist. We replaced it. So let's go ahead and fix that. We have some options: edit constraint, delete, suppress. Let's just edit the constraint. That way all we have to do is pick that center line again. Now, this message popping up is not telling us, hey, you just messed up something. It's telling us you fixed one of your 3. Now you've got 2 more to go. So let's fix the second one. Mate 2, Mate 3. Let's go ahead and fix Mate 2. Edit the constraint. There we go. Now, again, I don't have a new error. I've just got an old one that I need to take care of. I have one last constraint to fix. Next, next, edit the constraint. And again, we're looking for a center line. Right there. Notice the icon changed. Now, I could go and try to create my iAssembly now. Let's do that. Tools, create iAssembly. Well, I've got my table replace here. Let's see if I've got it in the other ones. Don't have it there, and don't have it there. What that is telling me is you still need to replace these with itself. You need to go into that iPart bolt, hit replace, and put that bolt in again. You need to go to that iPart shaft or mount, hit replace, and put it in again. That way we'll have the table replaced. It's not seeing the iPart configurations yet. So let's cancel. I don't want to create that yet. We'll go to the shaft, component, replace, and we'll put the shaft in. Again, it's coming up with the same table. I want the first one. Hit OK. I've got constraints to fix. So let's fix those constraints. Like I mentioned, you're going to have cleanup work to do if you don't plan ahead. So let's look at the first constraint. Next. It's going to be the center line, so let's just pick it. It's really easy. One more to fix. Mate 2. We can see the mate here. Edit. And we want right there. Mating up the center lines.